Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is another live edition of The Extra Point. Mr. P.L. Coulter is driving the Double Dutch bus, and I got T. Sizzle, Miss Tasha T. Sizzle, and Mr. Brandon Lewis riding shotgun. How goes it today, gang?
Going good. Hey, it's been cold. We've been having this bipolar weather where it go from hot to cold, cold to hot. But today it's going to be a great day in the low 70s here in Norman, Oklahoma. So I look forward to it.
Hey, you like that city drop? He's in Norman, his motherland. Yeah, okay. We see you. All right, we have a jam-packed show once again this Saturday morning to get to. But first, a word from our sponsor.
We are sponsored by May Jane's Coffee. That's MAEJANES coffee.com. You can get your Colombian, your Honduran, and your Brazilian blend coffee, freshly ground or not, by my sweet daughter, Sasha Denise. She is having an official relaunch, or maybe like a rebranding, in Nashville. And I think it's May 17th. I don't have the dates right now, but she's basically starting the company over to get it, make it a little more streamlined, because she has been getting a lot of business. So we do appreciate all the support that you guys have been giving her. And again, please purchase your May Jane's Coffee at MAEJANES coffee.com.
All right, that's MayJanesCoffee.com. I am sipping on mine right now. Thank you to our sponsor. Now, it is Elite 8 weekend right here in the heart of March Madness. I think March Madness would be a great way to put it. There's been a lot of crazy upsets. Your bracket, Tasha's in it. Is there any part left of your bracket that you can salvage?
What's a bracket?
Okay, good. Because my entire Final Four went burning up like Fire Marshal Bill last week. I don't have any of my Final Four left in the tournament. Michigan is out of the tournament. They went 12 for 25 on layups and dunks on Thursday. So I'm a little bit sick of that tournament. But we still got some big games this weekend. We will be finding out in the next couple of days who will be in the Final Four. So let's get to a few of those matchups. I want to get your thoughts on them. Brandon, coming to you first. We have number 6 seed Houston versus number 2 seed Villanova. A matchup of a couple of great coaches, a couple of hard-fought teams. Who you like in this one?
I like Houston. I got to go with H-Town simply because Kelvin Sampson was a former OU head coach, but also he made it there last year, but just couldn't get the job done. So they had to regroup. They did lose some key players, but with the loss of key players, and they're back in the picture, so I see them at least going to the Final Four.
Tasha T. Sizzle. Now, Houston has won their last 6 games, and Villanova's won their last 8 games. Who continues streaking after today?
I'm kind of inclined to go with Brandon on this because I really like what Houston is doing. And another thing, like tournament time, there's no way possible we can watch all of these teams.
Right.
Tournament time.
What if you got a job?
Yes. Tournament time puts everything in the forefront where you pay more attention to schools who you have never seen play all season long. Right. Even though I've known about Kelvin Sampson, I didn't know too much about Houston other than Fly Slamma Jamma. We know that's Clyde Drexler and the Dream, But I kind of like what Houston is doing. Villanova is very strong. But I'm kind of opposed to like these rankings. You say, oh, it's a 2 against a 45 or whatever. I think it's at this time of year, I think those numbers go out the window.
The tournament has certainly backed you up on that. There's only one number 1 seed left in the tournament, and it hadn't looked like on the court there's been too many upsets. Looks like some of these teams have been misseeded. So I totally agree with you there. Now, in the nightcap, a very interesting game. We got Coach K's final ride. Does he go on another mile? We have Duke, the number 2 seed, going against number 4 seed Arkansas, who coincidentally just knocked off the number 1 overall seed in the tournament in Gonzaga on Thursday. Before we get into this matchup, a quick question about Gonzaga. Every year they're a number 1 seed. Now, I remember the last time you were on with us, Brandon, I closed the show saying keep an eye out on Gonzaga to make a deep run, and y'all basically jumped through the screen to choke me. Y'all were right. What is it that y'all already knew before I filled out my damn bracket?
Look at where they play. And I even tweeted that. I said every year the committee gives Gonzaga this #1 seed, and every year you still got fools out here that's putting them in the damn championship or have them winning it all.
I feel triggered.
I agree with you because simply, let me tell you something. I'm going to add on to that. If Gonzaga was going to win, last year was the time to win. That was their strongest team. They lost too many key people. You know, bringing in Chet Holmgren, Rashard Bolden from Iowa State, all those people, it didn't improve the team. So if they had the chance to do something, that was last year. Not this year. They didn't have a strong team.
Now, there's a word that we don't like to use much in the world of sports because it's very disrespectful. Shouts out to Grandpa Langston checking in. There's a word that we don't like to use very often, but in this case, I'm going to just throw it out there, and you all let me know if this is apropos for Gonzaga. The word soft comes to mind when I think about some of the teams that's eliminated them over the past few years. People seem to get into them. People seem to be more physical. Arkansas just out-hustled them, kind of muscled them around. Chet Holmgren, who's going to be a top 3 pick, he was bloodied and beat up against Memphis and against Arkansas. Is it a particular style of ball that they're playing? Do they not have enough rough riders on their team? Is that too disrespectful a word to use? What word would you use for why they seem to not be able to get over the hump?
Well, I wouldn't say it's necessarily the players are being soft. I think it's their schedule. You know, their conference, the only competition they have in their conference is St. Mary's. That was the other team from their conference that made it to the NCAA tournament. Now, they had a pretty good non-conference last year and this year. But to me, I'm looking at the schedule now. They played Texas, beat Texas, UCLA. They blew them out. They played Duke and lost by 4 points.
And that was a very, very competitive game throughout the whole game, yeah.
They played Bama. They played Tech. They beat Tech. So I wouldn't say necessarily the non-conference is the problem. It's the conference. It's time for them to move conferences.
Right.
Yes. They're not getting that when do they play college games? Tuesday, Saturday. They're not getting that bump and grind style of play that, I mean, you can't even say like the Blue Bloods, but playing more of a Pac-12 schedule. That'll get you more of a bump and grind type. You know, especially tournament time, you need to be able to get in there and get you some goons during tournament time because that's what you play for. You play to get to this tournament so you can have a chance to cut the nets down. They're not getting that. The only time they're getting that bump and grind is when they're in the tournament and they're getting out bumped and out grind.
Right. They don't have that scar tissue built up from tough conference play. You look at the ACC, who had a down year in most people's eyes, but they got 3 teams in the Big 8. I mean, in the Elite 8, because every night in and night out, they're going to be playing a pretty tough opponent. Now, Langston checks in with a question for you, too. I want to go ahead and pitch it to you. He says he hadn't watched much, but his question is, does fundamentals only get you so far, but talent gets you over the top? What do you think about that? Because, like, with Purdue last night, they had basically a top 5 lottery pick in Mr. Ely, but he went down to St. Peter's. What are your thoughts on that? Do you need a superstar to take you over the top, or can you just do it with fundamentals?
No, you need a superstar. Because you go back to look at the great Tim Duncan. What do you call him? The big fundamental. But look at what he had. He didn't necessarily have superstars around him, but he had players that were going to do what they needed, what needed to be done.
I think Kawhi Leonard and Tony Parker had some superstar seasons.
Even before Kawhi got there. You think about he had David Robinson with him when they won the championship in that shortened season that year. He still had other things around him that would allow him to do his fundamentals. Because, again, you had your Tony Parkers who played over in Europe. You had Ginobili who played down in Argentina. They play a different style of ball in South America and in Europe. They were allowed to play their game because Tim Duncan was just going to bring the fundamentals into it. You kind of do need you need that. You need 1 or 2 pieces around you that will allow you. And then when you're talking about what's Eli? What's his name? That's this.
You talking about Ivy?
Yeah, Mr. Ivy.
But did you see how slow he is? Did you see him?
Compared him to John Morant throughout the season, you think he was overhyped?
I just think he was. When I watched the game last night, it was like he couldn't move his feet.
I think the New Jersey boys got in them, and we're going to get to that here in just a moment. Now, we do have 2 games on Sunday as well. We have number 10 seed Miami and number 1 seed Kansas. Now, to throw this out at you both before I get your picks, both teams are averaging 47.1 basically field goal percentage, exact same field goal percentage for the season, and both teams have winning records by a long shot in one possession games. So this has all the makings on paper to go right down to the wire. Who do you trust more in crunch time, Miami or Kansas, Brandon?
I haven't seen Miami play, but I have seen Kansas play against OU, and they should have lost to us twice. To me, Kansas is not really a strong team, in my opinion, from what I have seen. I feel like the Zebras are on their side, honestly, from what I have seen. But
like a true rival.
Yes, but they have Bill Self. Bill Self is a great coach. I'm not taking that credit from him, but this is not one of his strongest rosters, in my opinion.
That is true.
Now, Abaji, I love Abaji. Down-to-earth guy, great player. He could win, College Player of the Year this year. But I just have to go with Kansas because I've seen Kansas play. I haven't seen Miami play, and I think this is Miami's first appearance in the Elite Eight, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So I'm going with Kansas on this.
T-Sizzle.
Yeah, I'm inclined to go with Kansas just because they've been there before, but you can't always use that. I watch the Miami News here. That's the channel I get for my CBS and NBC and everything. And even they're kind of surprised at how far Miami is going. I just think Kansas is going to take this. I don't want Kansas to take it. I'm going for
I'm with you. The U.
I just don't like schools like Kansas and Duke. I never have. So I'm not going to ever root for a Kansas. I'm not going to ever root for a Duke. I don't care what's going on.
Right.
That should be a fun matchup. One thing about Miami, and I did watch their win over Iowa State last night. They're athletic. They're not very big, which means that Kansas could get some work done on the inside. And now they have their star point guard back in Kansas, and I think I trust them at the free throw line more than I trust Miami in a close game as well. I like Kansas along with you. And in the game that's really going to capture the heart of the American sports fan, we have 15 seed St. Peter's. It's still in the tournament. First 15 seed to ever make an Elite Eight, going against a blue blood in North Carolina that has more championships than St. Peter's has tournament wins all time. So
St. Peter's has students.
Right. So if you're St. Peter's, you're an 8-point dog. You've knocked off Kentucky. You knocked off Murray State, who had the best record in all of college basketball. Then you turn around and knock off Purdue. Are you getting shown no love being an 8-point dog in North Carolina? Is this where the Cinderella story ends for St. Peter's, Brandon?
You know what? I really would love St. Peter's to go ahead and win like that year, Loyola Chicago. Like it's something about these Catholic schools.
But who knocked up Loyola Chicago in the Final Four? That would be the University of Michigan.
But I would love St. Peter's to be able to take it, but I don't know. North Carolina, just the program they are. I'm gonna go like statistic-wise and what I have seen North Carolina, but in my mind, I want St. Peter's to win. So I have to just be realistic and go with North Carolina.
T-Sizzle.
The thing is, if the Peacocks keep winning, they're gonna lose Shaheen because you look what happened at VCU when
he might be gone already now. These are nationally televised games where he's showing out on.
Right, and then you think about it, he was a McDonald's All-American. He played at Seton Hall, so he knows it. And people are looking at him, the way he's coaching this team out here. But the team they are really out here. They're coming together, and they're playing hard.
Yes.
And that's what matters in the tournament. So I'm kind of scared. I don't know who to go with. UNC, UNC, they struggled throughout the season. They get in, they had their good hoorah when they beat, Coach K on his last game.
Right, but then they turn around and laid an egg in the ACC tournament a week later.
Exactly. See, right. They're an up and down type team, and just throughout the season they haven't been doing good. I don't know if this is the case of them peaking at the right time, or you know what? Yes, he's still alive.
He's still alive, Robert.
No, he may have just shouts out to Robert Yeager for checking in. He may have just checked in before we did after we did the Duke preview. So yes, they'll be playing later on tonight against Arkansas. We rooting for Arkansas, but we like the Dukies to take that one. Shouts out, thanks for checking in. Now, one time says only 8-point dogs if this matchup happened. You know what? That's very true. But the thing is, now we have what they call book on St. Peter's. Like Tasha said, they played harder than their opponents. They've only trailed by 6 points the entire tournament. They took Kentucky to this woodshed. They led wire to wire against Murray State. And against Purdue seemed like an overmatched team toward the end of that game.
They came back. It was top. They came back and took over that game in those final few seconds. That's grit right there. That's determination.
Now, do y'all know who conference they're in? They're in the conference with Rick Pitino in Iona.
Rick Pitino really done got in the witness protection program. If he's in Iona,
hey, you know that's a downgrade.
The Lakers says when they beat Kentucky, I said the team is dangerous, but they don't know they're supposed to be there. They just show up and play with no pressure. That is a great point. Also, something that me and Tasha talked about last weekend regarding this team. When they asked him about pressure, the coach said, my guards are from New York City. We play with Tim Zone. With no
100 clears.
We play in the score count. We play at the Rucker. So pressure, they're not going to feel no pressure. There's no more pressure.
What do we say? They out there playing on those rims with no nets or chains.
Right.
What's that park? Rucker Park and some other ones out there?
Out there at the Rucker shooting.
So, and he basically just let that marinate because he knew all basketball fans knew what he was saying when he said, hey, I got a backcourt from New York. So, like, I'm sitting pretty. And that backcourt has outperformed their opponents in every game this year. They haven't looked like a Cinderella. If you North Carolina, you better hope Manick is hitting his threes. You better hope that Caleb Love has another performance like he had last night against UCLA. Because if they don't have somebody dropping 30, ooh, this could be terrible. This could be terrible.
Do you know where Manick came from?
Where's that?
OU. That's Oklahoma boy, straight out of here, Oklahoma.
We walk right into that one, Tasha.
No, Robert, it wouldn't be epic. It would be a nightmare if Coach K went out with the victory.
Right.
I want Coach K to end with a victory.
I'm not really gonna lie. When Texas Tech had them on the ropes Thursday night, I was kind of like, nah, man, let them get beat in the national championship game or something. I kind of want the story to continue to. I'm a Michigan fan, so I'm really fond of Duke. They cost us a national championship in Chris Webber's freshman year. But I will say, I love the storyline of Coach K in his last ride and the pressure that's put on his kids. And they've stepped up to the pressure so far. Tasha's like, whatever. All right. So
look at the eyebrow raise.
Right, Tasha's like, whatever. She's going, what do they call it? Pig suey tonight. Well, for Arkansas. He's going pig suey tonight. I want him to at least make
you beat Arkansas too. But Arkansas, for some reason, when they get in that tournament, they play totally different basketball.
Right. And Oklahoma is in the house.
Yes, sir.
Hey. All right. And speaking of Oklahoma, we're going to get into some Oklahoma football players in just a little bit. But we want to transition to the NFL. Speaking of Oklahoma, now the Cleveland Browns yesterday officially introduced Deshaun Watson as their quarterback in a press conference. So it's official. It's done. Tasha, you're laughing already. Stop it. Okay, so the only thing left to tie up is what to do with Baker Mayfield. Now, reports yesterday said the Browns have now come off a first-round pick for Baker because they get no bites in the water. So now they're not even asking for a first. It looks like there's no starting positions left in the NFL except for one. And if that was the case, why haven't they already gone and picked up Baker? Baker Mayfield is the number one pick, overall pick in the draft. He went to a Cleveland team that was a morbid franchise, got them to respectability, won a playoff game, had a decent rookie year, a great second year, made the playoffs, beat his rival Pittsburgh, and now he's on the verge of not having a starting job this year. How could this happen, Brandon?
Man, OU fans might not like this, but I never really been a fan of Baker, and that goes back to his time.
I like Robert, by the way.
No, back to Robert back.
So, hi, Robert. Yeah,
like Robert.
A lot of
right. You say something about the Fab Five. You family.
But like I was saying, I knew Baker before, he made it to, Texas Tech, and then OU. I think it's just like an ego thing, his attitude, how he come off. He's a good football player. Don't get me wrong, but to me, his playing in the NFL doesn't translate, well, in my opinion. From college to NFL, those are two different games. You got linebackers as fast as running backs. You got cornerbacks as fast as receivers. Right. So it's just, I don't know. I feel like it's more of his ego rather than his talent.
Wow. So Brandon said he has the talent, but he doesn't have the intangibles. Like, Tasha, are you surprised that he won't be a starting quarterback this year? There's a possibility that he won't be. Does that surprise you?
No, because if you're going to have those type of antics, you need to be able to back that up with a certain style of play.
Right.
And when you win, they tend to overlook things. But what does Baker do? He complains. What does his wife do? She complains. But he's not putting it on the field. Now, you can go back and say, OBJ's father went out and made this. But when you look, if I actually went back and looked at that video, he was kind of telling the truth.
You mean the father that released the video of Baker Mayfield missing passes to OBJ?
Right. And so then you get OBJ going out here to LA and could have been the MVP had he not torn his ACL in that game.
Good point.
But Baker has too many. I mean, you in a guy who has some of off the field issues. They don't want to deal with his antics, and these teams are not out here babysitting. And like Langston just said, Kyler Murray is next. You ain't here playing off of your rookie deal. You got all these expectations. You ain't did nothing, and then you out here trying to complain. These teams don't want to deal with that because there are other quarterbacks out there who can do your job with the same talent that you have, that they already have with the team. Baker is a decent quarterback, but it's all that other stuff, that comes along with it.
Decent doesn't equate to longevity in the NFL.
No, it does. It does not. It does not. But then again, you got what's his name? The Minnesota quarterback,
Kirk Cousins.
Kirk Cousins, who has made over $238 million being mediocre. You can pull up his stats and say whatever. Ain't nobody out here champion for Kirk Cousins.
But also, too, and the reason I say I go back to Baker Mayfield's high school career is basically you're in the University of Texas backyard. Why you didn't get an offer for them? What is wrong? Something is not right, and people don't realize the whole process. You go through interviews and everything. It's like a job. They go and look how you evaluate yourself, how you come across. Are you going to be a cancer in the locker room? Are you going to be on top of your game and all that? And a lot of people don't see that. It's a lot that goes into recruiting. So this didn't just start, now. This been started. Don't get me wrong. Baker Mayfield was a steal in college football. He was a steal. But, this goes back to high school. He went to Lake Travis. He was an amazing quarterback at Lake Travis. But why did you not get an offer from the hometown team?
Did they offer the Texas schools? I'm pretty sure they offered Stafford, didn't they? Why did Stafford?
More than likely they did. But that's the thing. Matthew Stafford and Baker are two different quarterbacks. Attitude-wise and everything. That guy is so humble, in my opinion.
Right. And for him to not flame his old team in Detroit and all those years where he was putting up 5,000 yards and winning 4 games, that did show a lot of maturity. And Robert is right on something. You can't tell the wifey to hush it down. That's a man who's going to stay married right there. You're right. So what can you do if you're Baker in that regard? But I want to play a little game, a little quick impromptu game of hang in there or have a seat.
Can I cut you off real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so this is according to ESPN. When Baker came out of high school, He only got offers from Florida Atlantic, New Mexico, Rice, and Washington State. That's according to ESPN.
Rice. So that's the Texas school?
That's the Texas school right there.
As far as I guess who he had interest in, like, that was like maybe it was Houston in there, Oklahoma, SMU, and TCU.
Now, see, for all of you young journalists out there trying to make it in the business, make sure you cite your sources. Good job by you, Brandon. I just wanted to highlight that for people who's looking at his demo reel, that he cited his source on that. Excellent job by you, B. Diddy. That's how you do it. Now, we're going to play a quick game of Hang in There, Have a Seat, Baker Mayfield edition. You two I'm going to give you a quarterback. You tell me if you would hang in there with that quarterback, or would you have them have a seat for Baker Mayfield? I'm just curious. I'm trying to see something. Let's start in Seattle with Drew Lock. Would you hang in there with him or have a seat for Baker?
I'm going with Baker on that one. Drew Lock doesn't show anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's not the future in Seattle. No.
Oh no. They better.
If not, something wrong.
Yeah.
Tasha, read links this response real quick. Spotify, we're not repeating this.
Gee, tell her to shut the hell up.
Maybe he's probably the type that would say something like that.
I would too. I'd be like, look, just like Patrick Mahomes' wife and that damn brother. Hey, sit y'all country asses down over here in this corner. Like, I don't have
one time says Baker's commercials are better than his stats. Now, can I retweet that? He's worried about Hollywood. Now, Progressive, you can see them tearing up that contract in any minute now, because I don't think they want to highlight nobody who's sitting behind, Numbufu. And yes, I just made that name up. Let's move to the city of New York. Zach Wilson. Hang in there with Zach Wilson or tell him to have a seat for Baker.
Oh, gosh. You got some good quarterbacks as far as, like, this is like a challenge as far as, like.
The part about it, Baker can outperform the two quarterbacks that you have named, but his upswing, you don't have any issues with Drew Lock. You don't have any issues with what's his name? With Zach Wilson, other than his crazy mother. But you don't have any issues.
So, ladies and gentlemen, if you've been listening since the top of the show, they're basically proving what they said earlier. It's not a talent thing with Baker Mayfield. Let's throw out a couple of more names. Exactly. Because they said that Baker's more talented than these people. They wouldn't take him.
I don't think any of these teams think that they can win a championship or actually win significantly with Baker Mayfield as their quarterback.
Right now, Robert, look, we're just getting some things out. Like, we're hanging up with us. There's going to be some good OU talk.
Hey,
we've chosen Baker twice. We've chosen
Baker twice, Robert.
Hey, Robert, I will even tell you this. When it comes to talking sports and everything, you got to be factual. It's not based on who you like, the favoritism. When I'm talking sports, it's going to be factual because that's the only way you can make it.
Right. And the Jets did nothing last year, but they agree with you that Baker is a better quarterback than Zach Wilson. So that's why we're perplexed as to why he hadn't gotten a trade offer or somebody tried to fill for him yet. All right, let's go to the ATL, Marcus Mariota. They actually traded for they actually signed Marcus Mariota and didn't even reach out to Cleveland about Baker Mayfield. Hang in there or have a seat. Would you hang in there with Mariota?
I mean, exotic smash mouth.
Stop it. Will you stop that? That was so stupid of us.
He kind of did his thing with the Titans. And
I like Marcus Mariota.
I mean, I did too.
Stop it, Langston.
I think exotic smash mouth. He's been a backup for so long, though.
Just a couple of years out there in Vegas, he done shaved his beard off. Him and his lovely wife walked into the facility in the A-Town yesterday. So you saying you wouldn't take Baker Mayfield over Marcus?
I would, for style of play and with what Atlanta is doing, I would take exotic smash mouth over Baker in this case.
You too, Brandon?
Yeah, I agree. And just for some reason, my gut tell me that Marcus Mariota is going to come with something different. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, how somebody got in trouble and then they they've been quiet. You haven't really heard about him or anything like that. I just feel like he's going to I feel like this is his second opportunity. Now, if he don't make the best of his second opportunity, then that's on him.
I mean, I think Marcus is more like a Mitchell Trubisky. They're kind of maybe like a bridge quarterback because you got
and let's not underestimate the fact that he's reuniting with Arthur Smith, who's now the head coach in Atlanta, who was his offensive coordinator when he had success in Tennessee before he actually gave way to Ryan Tannehill. Now, you said Mitchell Trubisky, who was actually next on this list. Mitchell Trubisky in Pittsburgh. Would you hang in there with Mitchell, or if Baker came available, you'll take him?
Baker all day.
I definitely take Baker over
Baker. I don't even know how Mitch even made it to the NFL.
You see, Robert, we're showing love to Baker. We like he's answering the call on these. All right, let's keep going. Jameis Winston down in New Orleans. Would you hang in there, or would you have a seat for Baker?
I'm going with Mr. Crab Legs. Coming talk.
Oh man!
Stop it, Langston. Okay, so you got Jameis Winston or Baker Mayfield?
I said Jameis Winston.
Okay,
man. I have to go with Jameis. I have to go with Jameis because before he got injured, he was doing good. They was undefeated.
Right. He was on his way to back-to-back 5,000-yard season.
And he wasn't throwing all those pits or anything like that. He was actually playing good ball.
Now, one time is a noted Jets fan, and he says Jets Nation is building something with Wilson. A hard no on Baker. Wow. Okay,
Langston,
so he's a Jets fan and saying hell no.
But wait a minute, to go to Langston's point, ain't Mr. Shake 'em up, shooting craps, Calvin, ain't he gonna be out the whole season?
Yeah, but the one thing about this is
Kyle Pitts.
If you're Kyle Pitts, you about to eat because Marcus Mariota can only see over the middle of the field.
Yeah,
ask Randy Walker, ask any tight end that's played for the Titans. They ate while Marcus Mariota was under center because he's not going to throw it to the hash. He's going right over the middle. So, like, put him on your fantasy radar this year.
And then they lost Russell Gage. Russell Gage is gone now.
And, Russell Gage is in Tampa Bay. So,
and then another thing, people don't talk enough about Cordell Patterson. Like, you got him down there at running back.
And he's the punter, the place kicker, the snap.
He missed to do it all.
The running back.
Athlete.
Right when you come into college.
All right, we got two more quarterbacks here that I want to throw out to you. One, Jared Goff in Detroit. If you're in Detroit, would you want to keep Jared Goff or take a chance on Baker?
He got to go. I'll take Baker over him. I feel like he was a better quarterback in LA, and then he went to Detroit. I was like, what the heck? Like,
I mean, that goes to show you too is maybe. But Evelyn, if every time we go somewhere it smell like day old cabbage, maybe it's just you. Maybe you just stink.
Did you call him Evelyn?
Yes, Detroit is Evelyn.
Golly.
No, look, Baker, don't do it. Don't sit behind nobody in the city of Detroit. If you're going to sit behind somebody, go sit behind somebody in a nice, warm weather, clean environment. I love you, Detroit. But I'm not being no backup in Detroit. Y'all can send me anywhere else to hold a clipboard. But if I'm not going to be playing, ain't no progressive commercials going down in downtown Detroit. That's not happening. And last but certainly not least, we're going to hit South Beach with one Tua Tagovailoa. Would you hang in there with Tua, or would you have a seat for Baker?
Tua.
Don't forget Teddy Two Gloves. Don't forget he down there.
Oh, Teddy Two. I'm so glad
in
the game.
Hey, you started it. You started it.
Yeah, shouts out to my brother D checking in. He said Goff had the same stats as Tannehill. So what does that say? Well, let's throw Tannehill in there. We all wanted him out of town after the playoff.
Oh, I take Baker over Tannehill.
Would you really? You would too?
I do not like Tannehill, and
I don't either now. The man had 3 interceptions in a close game where your defense got 9 sacks. You threw an interception on the first offensive play of the game and the last offensive play of the game. If I don't ever see him in a Titans uniform again, it'll be too soon. Give us Marcus Mariota back. Give me Baker Mayfield. Give me Curtis Mayfield. Give me the Mayflower.
Give me some Mayfield ice cream.
Hey, out of those 2 Texas boys, I'm going with the Austin boy.
Okay, shouts out to Austin.
Robert said 1 hop Tua.
He said, wait a minute. Yeah, bring that back. 1 hop Tua.
Golly.
They said, don't say a damn thing about Mr. Teddy. Mama, okay. He's a Louisville grad. Shouts out.
Hey.
I just called the man by his government name, Tadaro, because you know that boy name ain't Teddy.
But hold up, though. My brother gave me a headache bringing Tannehill into the conversation because I didn't even want to be triggered by his name. But yes, give me anybody over him. Please, let's address this in the draft. I'm done with it. The man chokes in the playoffs. We get 11 wins, 10 wins, 12 wins, win the division, win the conference, and get knocked out in the first round? No.
We told you.
We told you.
You did. Okay, that makes it even worse. You told me y'all were right.
And I'm going to speak for Mike. All three of us told you.
Now, this puts a nice little bow on this segment. One time says the only baker I want on my team is the one that's bringing in fresh baked muffins. All right, don't forget the donut holes and the kolaches too. That's what's up.
Out of this.
Shouts out to Troy Logan, class of 93. Can we get a drum roll? Boom. Shouts out. Cashville is in the building. Now, speaking of Tua just got an early Christmas present. It was Christmas in March for Tua. He's got him a cheetah now. The Dolphin gets to ride a cheetah. Oh, the other day of a blockbuster trade that Kansas City is no longer going to have the cheetah on their squad. Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, is going to South Beach in exchange for 5 draft picks. So my question to you is, because somebody just already called Tua one-hop Tua, which quarterback do you think is going to be under more pressure? Mahomes to put up numbers without the cheetah, or Tua to put up numbers with the cheetah?
Tua.
Mm-hmm.
Because as you see, Kansas City is loading up. They're loading up.
Kansas City's loading up?
Yeah.
You mean with the draft picks?
No, the receivers.
I'm listening to you, Brandon.
You like TikTok YouTube to replace? Hold on, but Joe Shelton shouts out to Maplewood High, says Gonzaga is Belmont with Yeezys on. Now, what he was talking about Tim's last night, shouts out.
Okay, Brandon, continue.
All right, so, yeah, Tua has more pressure on his back because, like, if you can't perform and you got, like, one of the fastest people in the NFL, then something wrong. But I think Kansas City is going to be all right. You know, Juju is there. You got.
I don't like Juju. I think Juju's overrated, but keep going.
Well, He's been overrated. He's been overrated.
Or did he just not have good quarterback play last year?
But
I mean, kind of all of it. I think he needed a new change of scenery.
Yeah, absolutely.
To get out of Pittsburgh.
He didn't have no quarterback, really.
Now, for y'all watching this on YouTube, I want you to see Robert's South Side next to his picture. Now I'm a little frightened. Does he have bodies on his gun? I'm just watching First 48 last night. I'm a little nervous. You got Crips in here in the chat. Lexi says the Dolphins pay too much. Tasha, who's under more pressure? Mahomes to get it done without the cheetah, which he's never played without the cheetah, or for Tua to finally make the playoffs with all of these weapons he's got, including Jalen Waddle now and Hill.
It's Tua, because you done gave this man a brand new, nice, shiny toy. And and speed, and what do they always say? You can't coach speed. Now, I do know, Tua may be a one-hopper, but Tua can throw it. Tua can get it out there to you. If Tua takes you don't think Tua can throw? Well, you know them clangers broke them ribs and that hip, and we kind of tore all of that up. But
don't take pride in that, because it did something to his spring. He ain't got that little thing that does this.
But this gives him the opportunity. Like I said, that gives him the opportunity to. You have Cheetah on this side. You got Waddle on this side. That gives him the opportunity to take it, step back, and just say,
Don't forget about, what's gonna get mad? Langston gonna get mad. Don't forget about his Louisville Cardinal, Devontae Parker.
Yeah, now, exactly.
Devontae, stay healthy, because every time I start you in fantasy football, you don't finish the game, and then when I bench you, you score 2 touchdowns. I do not like that, man.
You see Robert's comment?
Yeah, hey, he's serious about his Baker hate. Now, we got him fired up this morning. Now, Joe Shelton brings up a good point that I want to point out. He says Mahomes will mirror what Lamar Jackson has been the last couple of years. Hill was his X factor. Remember that Super Bowl run? Every big play that got them out of a jam was made by Tyreek Hill.
Because it was easy to get, like I said, when you got somebody We on the 20-yard line. You just say what they saying. What's the movie? Get out, get him, Grandpa. That's all you saying to Tyreek Hill is get him, Grandpa, and all he doing is running and turning around. You cannot coach that speed, and it is true because you see. I mean, Mahomes is a Hall of Famer. We already know that he is a future Hall of Famer. But I think he will have kind of like a step back, just like Joe said. But we're not expecting, we all know maybe the Chiefs are going to be, the AFC representative. They're going to win for the future here on out with Mahomes. But we're not expecting Mahomes to just fall off the map.
Right. I hope his running game improves this year because I don't think he's going to be completely.
We're expecting Tua to rise. So it's more pressure on Tua because if Mahomes doesn't win another AFC championship, doesn't win another Super Bowl, guess what? We still gonna talk about Mahomes. We're
that
not
is
gonna
true.
talk
And he already has his chip. And and he's the franchise quarterback no matter what.
Right.
Now, Roger has a question
funky about him or nothing.
Right.
But let Tua have one, especially with Mike. Mike hates Tua.
Right. Oh, yeah. Mike is somewhere throwing rocks at us right now for even talking about Tua. Now, Brandon, since you weren't on last week when we talked about Devontae Adams, I want you to answer this for Robert. He says, what about Devontae Adams? That was a huge pickup for Vegas. Which pickup is more important, him going to Vegas or Cheetah going to Miami?
Him going to Vegas. They don't have a number one receiver.
Mm-hmm.
They do now.
Yeah. They do.
Hey,
let me tell you something. But let me tell you something. That's those, you got Josh McDaniels there. Hopefully he can succeed because
right, but you got Darren Waller at tight end. You got some speedsters out there. You still got Renfro who can do the intermediary stuff. And then you got a true number one. You got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. You got your boy quarterback, the Carr, who's serviceable.
And that's his, that's their teammates. That's their.
Yeah, that's like, and that's another thing. It's like, you can't even say he did it for the money. You can just say he probably wanted to get away from Green Bay, and I don't blame him.
Who wouldn't want to get away from the Packers?
But even though you have a better opportunity, that tells you something about Green Bay. You have a better opportunity to win a Super Bowl in Green Bay than you do in Las Vegas. And he chose to go to Vegas to play with his best, quote unquote, best friend.
Right, and don't forget the fact that the way that Aaron Rodgers constructed his deal to where he can back out of it any year over the next 3. You're not going to hold my career in your hands like that. To where every year you pulling this stunt every summer, and I don't know if you're coming back or not.
Right, then it's too late. They don't put the franchise tag on me, and I say I ain't playing. I'm just gonna sit out. I don't want to play under that franchise tag. Yeah. I mean,
Oklahoma's getting signed today. Yeah, shouts out to Oklahoma.
Also, have y'all noticed? I don't know if y'all noticed this, but this is something that I have analyzed. A lot of NFL teams are going with, like the 1-2 punch where, you have a quarterback and they draft the receiver, or they draft the running back because they're trying to bring in that, they're trying to mesh everything together, Yeah, that chemistry.
Tasha agrees with you that Aaron Rodgers is overrated. I agree with you, Brandon. But I want to transition to a little NBA real quick before we close the show, because a few weeks ago we had a segment that we were basically asking who got next, and it was between Ja Morant and Luka Doncic, and I believe both of you all said Ja Morant, but with a caveat. You were both worried about his long-term health, the way he jumps around and hits the ground and does all this aerial assault above the rim. And I believe Tasha even used a name that made me cringe in my spirit of Derrick Rose. Well, just a couple of days ago, the Memphis Grizzlies announced that Ja Morant is going to miss the remainder of the regular season, the last 2.5 weeks or so, because of quote-unquote knee soreness. So immediately when I heard that, I wanted to get you two on a FaceTime and cuss y'all out from Genesis to Revelations for putting that in the atmosphere on my squad. As I digress.
I'm factual.
Now let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this because I need y'all to redeem yourself right here, right now. Now, are the Memphis Grizzlies just playing coy and giving Ja some maintenance days off because we've clinched the playoff berth in Memphis? Or do you think, oh my God, here come the knee problems. Here we go again. This is Derrick Rose 2.0.
No, the game when I was going to watch.
Oh no, Robert Grant Hill. Somebody deactivated his account.
Oh no, Grant Hills had the Staphylococcus aureosis and everything. Had staph.
Right, he had nucleophus.
When I saw
all
that
kind of stuff. Please, Lord Jesus, no.
On last Wednesday when they were playing, and I saw that he was out, the first thing that popped, and I meant to send that to you. I was going to say load management much, like how all of a sudden is his knee. And then, like I said, he's sitting over there with all that weight on his neck, and knee wasn't hurting too bad. He was holding them chains up.
But for a player like Ja, who called out ESPN for more games, to get that game flexed to national television, ESPN was there in the building, and he did not play. That doesn't sound like maintenance to me, because a superstar like Ja, you're not going to keep off the court in one of his few highly profile games against a Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. When I saw he missed that game, I was like...
But they still won without him, though.
Yeah, right, which means that maybe the Grizzlies are like, well, since we're winning without you, let's just sit you down for the playoffs because we're going to run the hell out of you when the playoffs start. Or is this something that we're going to be worried about?
That sounds like another Tennessee team.
Don't do Henry like that. I wasn't going to break out the crown.
I had to. It was there.
Y'all jinxed Henry. You're going to stop jinxing my teams.
We were just telling you the truth.
And now you're jinxing job.
What you're saying? When you're in the booth, tell the truth, right?
Don't use my words against me today.
Hey, boom.
Y'all jinxed the king. Now y'all jinxing the prince. You two are banned from the show. Tasha.
I roll with Ja. I would never.
Hey, I'm a big fan of Ja. I'm a big fan of Ja. I like Ja when he was at Murray State.
See, Robert epitomizes what I'm feeling right now, because it was a travesty. D Rose was going to be the next big thing. He probably would have went past LeBron because he was more athletic than LeBron, with a better jumper and a better free throw shooter. But the man's knee did him like Penny Hardaway. And it's something about the Memphis water. Penny Hardaway with the knee issues coming through Memphis.
Checking out that Mississippi.
Rose went to Memphis having them knee problems. Now it's Ja. What in the hell are they cooking down there?
No, it said that Mississippi muddy river water.
He said he thought he'd just slide in and say, let's go Hills. Hey, D, I'm rooting for you. I got no dog in the fight, but you're playing against the one mixtape team down with St. Peter's. Y'all playing against Drop in the comments real quick. Are you worried about being upset as well? Because you should be. What they did to Kentucky, what they did to Murray State, and what they did to Purdue didn't look like a fluke to me. As we digress.
What they did to that dog.
Right. So, okay. So I just wanted to get it off my chest that I forever curse the day that they spoke ill of my superstars, because every time they open their mouth about one of my favorite players, they go down in a heap of meat. That's just messed up. Ja, we praying for you. Get back soon. Damon just going to do a cool yep. We're going to be checking back on you next week, D. We're going to be checking back on you next week.
Robert.
Now, one last question I want to throw out at you. This week, the news has just been flooding in, just coming. God bless you, sports. The mayor of New York has now rolled back the COVID protocol that prevented Kyrie Irving from playing home games at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. So now the Brooklyn Nets are back whole with KD and Kyrie, both playing at what you would call an MVP level. They're both averaging like 40 points a game over the last 10 games or so. Now that Kyrie is back in the fold to play home games, Brandon, do you think they're once again the favorite to win the East? Or do you think being at the 8th spot, it's just too hard a hole to climb out of to get to the championship game from the 8th spot?
What improvement he's going to do? Hey.
Ooh, hot take.
The thing about it is that goes back to the Baker conversation. Egos. There's too many egos in there. And, if they can't get on the same page, then I don't see them going anywhere.
Woo-wee. All right. T-Sizzle, has your faith been restored in the Nets?
The only thing about that is if they have to do that play-in, he cannot play in Toronto.
Now, that is true. And
But I do disagree. I do disagree with Brandon on this. Kyrie can play. He just ain't took care of them mentals. But Kyrie can play. And I mean, you can't fault these people for wanting to stand on their morals and fall on their swords. You can't blame it for that. But when Kyrie got that ball in his hand, that brother's magic.
He put on a show last Wednesday in Memphis in a losing effort. Then the game before that, he scored 60. They can get it done, but the thing is, from the 8th spot, if you have to go through Philly and Miami and possibly Boston, that might be a tall order to go, especially with Ben Simmons still not playing yet. Where's Ben Simmons? Where's old Uncle Ben? Where's Ben? And I agree with Robert on the Andre Drummond piece. He's been critical.
But and also to Brandon's point, the fact that Kyrie is, I think Brandon is saying more on the distraction level. The fact that he has been a distraction and hasn't, I mean, he seemed to come back in and fit well with the team now that, pour it up, let me make it rain has been moved out to Philly. I just think it's about, I mean, this little time they have now is going to be the time when they need to get together and see what they can really do. If they don't get out of that playoff spot, that play-in spot, though,
we're running out of games. We're less than 10 games left in the regular season.
And I can't see them going in and beating Toronto without Kyrie, because that's going to – they're going to have to win 4 games, and most of the games will be played in Toronto.
Right. Now, D makes a point, though. Now, if they actually come out of this at the 8th seed, if they make it through the play-in and are 8, they won't be an underdog against a 1 seed Miami. They'll be the favorites with Kyrie playing home and away games. Mm-hmm. So I
do agree with you, Juan, because I'm a KD stan. So yes, if that
was the big toe game, right?
If he would have had on his right side, we would have got it.
Right. Simmons need to holler at him for some permanent general insurance and some BNJ.
Like, throw Simmons away.
What the hell is wrong with him? That man has got over. What's going on, Steph? Now, okay, last question. You're James Harden. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, you were in the midst of a 14-game losing streak. KD was out with a knee injury. Kyrie was still beefing with the system, only playing half the games. You were frustrated. You felt like you were having to do it all alone. Like you always do, you quit on your team and forced the trade to Philly. Now, it's almost like he made a temporary, a permanent decision over a temporary situation. Mm-hmm. Now, if you look at the Nets now with Kyrie playing full-time, KD's back healthy and looking like the best player on the planet, do you think he regrets jumping ship so soon? Or do you think he still has a better chance of winning the title with Joel Embiid in Philly than he would with KD and Kyrie?
He doesn't have a better chance because I just think James Harden's best years are behind him. His best years was being the 6th man when he was in OKC.
Damn, that was a long time ago, Tasha.
But that's when he played, because, again, it goes to what's going on in their lives. When they start evolving, he started getting the big head. His best years was when he was coming up off the bench in OKC.
So do you think that him teaming up with Joel Embiid is a better situation for him to win a championship now that the Nets are back whole?
No.
I agree.
No, not at all.
I agree. Brandon, what do you think? What's the better fit? Would it have been for him to stay and just ride it out until his team got healthy? Or for him to go ahead and team up with Embiid?
Just keep your mouth shut. That's what you should have did.
Pull them too.
Sometimes you got to be quiet. You know, when you run that tongue too much.
I had to let that marinate because that's a good life lesson too. Because he got impatient. Kyrie, it's almost like Kyrie said that, hey, I'm gonna just ride this out. Like you said, he fell on his sword, he stood on his principles, and things changed in his favor. Like sometimes we were just talking off camera about the car situation, and we're gonna just leave it like that. Sometimes you can not see the end from the beginning and then go out and make a foolish decision if you just what you say, just stay the course, and your blessing is going to be right on the other side of it, you know? So like
they said, the tongue is a powerful weapon.
Right. But I'm thinking if Harden was in Brooklyn and Kyrie is back and KD is back playing like the best player on the planet, you are a walk-in to the NBA Finals, and you're probably better than Phoenix on paper. So I'm like, damn, James. I know you looking at Embiid like, man.
But have you noticed we're not talking about Joel Embiid as much now that Harden is there? Do you notice that? Because we were saying that he was, the preemptive MVP and this and other thing. And it's like now no one is even really talking about Joel Embiid because they're not. You bring in Mr. Poet Up for a certain reason. And they're not really just jumping off the screen to me.
Right. I'm like, the thing is, basketball gods, please give us that series with the Nets and Philly. Because I want to watch Harden's body language when they're down 3-1. He's like, damn.
You trying to club open?
Man, you stuck there, bro. You stuck there. Ain't no undoing it, bro. You stuck there.
Can I get a flight to Atlanta real fast?
Right. Is Phoenix? Can we get Phoenix on the line? Who can I run to next? Like he's escaped. Who can I run to? All right. Brandon, do you have any shout outs today?
Man, not really. St. Peter's is the talk of the town right now, so I want to shout out,
we're going to be looking like them kids do when they hit the three. We're going to be looking. Shouts out Shamika Nicole.
Yep. But, yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I have to say. St. Peter's, they're looking really good. But it's funny because one of the VPs at OU used to work at St. Peter's. And I was like, oh, okay. So you knew about St. Peter's before everybody knew about St. Peter's.
Right.
So that's my shout out.
Award if they win this next game. Tasha, any final shots, any parting shots from you today?
Yes, I just have one shout out to my great physician down here, Mr. Rosario Roni. I had to have a small surgical procedure yesterday, and I called him literally about to die. And I didn't think Dr. Steele made house calls, but you know what he did? He came over with his nurse in his car with all of his tools and handled my procedure on the couch.
Brandon, wait a minute. I think I saw that on a movie called Hostel. Now, was this a legal kidney?
Ain't nobody cut my Achilles. Ain't nobody.
Wait a minute. I seen Hostel. Get that baby back there. They kidney.
Ain't nobody had me tied up and putting a chainsaw or shooting a staple gun in my chest.
That sounds a lot like Hostel. For you young kids out there, I need you to Google HOSTEL and see the premise I'm talking about.
Ain't nobody stole my passport at the hotel. Ain't nobody slid a roof in my drink while I'm going out to sleep with white European women.
And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, right, thank you, Jesus. We're going to close the show. I don't know his name. That's the name we calling on to close the show. Brandon, it was good to have you back on here. I cannot wait to get these games cracking this weekend. We'll see y'all about 7 days from now. Until then, peace.